You are standing on the shores of Palawan, the West Philippine Sea stretching endlessly before you. The horizon looks calm, but beneath those waters, shadows move, silent submarines, unknown vessels, threats we cannot always see. And then, above you, the sound of propellers cuts through the air, a maritime patrol aircraft keeping watch, eyes scanning the deep for danger. Now picture our Navy, tasked with defending one of the most contested seas on Earth. But instead of modern destroyers and advanced surveillance aircraft, they rely on ships older than most of their crew, veterans of another era, still loyal, but tired. This is where you, the Filipino people, come in. Because every decision made today, every alliance signed, every ship transferred, shapes your future security. Tokyo and Manila are now negotiating something unprecedented: the transfer of up to 6 Hatsuyuki-class destroyer escorts and several P-3C Orion maritime patrol aircraft. By the year 2027, these assets could be sailing under the Philippine flag. They may be old, yes, but in the right hands, they could tip the balance in a theater where China grows more aggressive every day. So stay with me until the end, because in the next minutes we will uncover the story behind this possible transfer, its history, its costs, its role in Horizon 3, and what it means for our sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more content on Philippine defense modernization. To understand the significance of this deal, we must first look back. The Philippine Navy has for decades been operating with vessels that many would consider floating museums. The backbone of our fleet for a long time was made up of former U.S. Navy ships handed down after World War II and the Korean War. Even today, some of our surface combatants are over 40 years old. Compare this with our neighbors. China operates one of the world's largest navies, with state-of-the-art destroyers, aircraft carriers, and nuclear submarines. Vietnam and Indonesia have invested heavily in modern frigates and submarines. Even Malaysia and Thailand maintain far more modern fleets than ours. Japan, on the other hand, has long been one of the most technologically advanced maritime powers in Asia. The Hatsuyuki-class destroyers were built in the 1980s as some of the most advanced ships of their time. They were the first Japanese destroyers to be equipped with gas turbine engines and were designed with a strong focus on anti-submarine warfare, a reflection of Japan's Cold War era need to counter Soviet submarines in the Pacific. As for the P-3C Orion aircraft, they were the world's standard for maritime patrol for decades. With long endurance, advanced sensors, and the ability to detect, track, and even attack submarines, the Orion became a legend in maritime aviation. The United States, Japan, Australia, and many NATO allies relied on it for decades before transitioning to the newer P-8 Poseidon. For the Philippines, a nation with over 7,000 islands and a maritime territory larger than our landmass, these platforms would fill a massive gap. This transfer is not happening in a vacuum. It follows a growing pattern of Japanese support for Philippine maritime security. A few years ago, Japan provided 13 multi-role response vessels, or MRRVs, to the Philippine Coast Guard. These patrol vessels have since become a familiar sight in the West Philippine Sea. They escort resupply missions to Ayungin Shoal, they shadow Chinese vessels, and they patrol our exclusive economic zone. These ships, though not heavily armed, have been instrumental in maintaining a Philippine presence where it matters most. Now, Tokyo is offering something bigger, combat-capable naval assets. While the details of financing have not yet been finalized, early reports suggest this transfer will be structured as part of Japan's official security assistance program. This could mean either a low-interest loan, a grant, or a cost-sharing arrangement where the Philippines covers the refurbishment and operational integration. If we estimate conservatively, Refurbishing each Hatsuyuki-class destroyer might cost between 30 million to 50 million US dollars, or roughly 1.7 to 2.8 billion pesos. For 6 ships, that is around 180 to 300 million dollars, about 10 to 17 billion pesos. As for the P-3C Orions, the refurbishment and training package could run another $100 million or more, equal to around 5.5 billion pesos. Combined, this program could cost between 15 to 23 billion pesos. That's a significant investment, but when we consider that a brand new frigate costs over 15 billion pesos each, and a new maritime patrol aircraft like the P-8 Poseidon costs over $2 billion, this is a cost-effective way for the Philippines to gain critical capabilities quickly. Now let's talk about what these platforms bring to the table. The Hatsuyuki-class destroyers. Displacement of around 3,000 tons, making them significantly larger than our current Del Pilar-class frigates. They carry advanced sonar systems for submarine detection. Originally armed with surface-to-air missiles, torpedoes, and anti-ship missiles. While their missile systems may no longer be transferred in full, their anti-submarine warfare gear, including helicopter decks capable of operating a Seahawk or Wildcat helicopter, remains highly valuable. Their endurance and seakeeping abilities far surpass many ships in our current inventory. The P-3C Orion aircraft. With a range of over 8,000 kilometers and an endurance of over 12 hours, these planes can patrol vast stretches of the West Philippine Sea in a single mission. Equipped with radar, electronic sensors, magnetic anomaly detectors, and sonobuoys, they can track submarines with deadly precision. They also have the capacity to carry torpedoes and anti-ship missiles, though whether the Philippines would receive these weapons depends on future agreements. Together, the destroyers and Orions form a layered anti-submarine warfare system. The Orions patrol the skies, detect enemy submarines, and guide the destroyers to intercept them. The destroyers, in turn, deploy their helicopters and torpedoes to neutralize the threat. This is a level of capability the Philippine Navy has never had before. How does this fit into the bigger picture of Philippine defense? The current modernization plan, known as Rehorizon 3, places a strong emphasis on maritime and aerial defense. After decades of neglecting external security, the Philippines is now prioritizing capabilities that can deter aggression in the West Philippine Sea. The addition of Japanese destroyers and P-3C Orions perfectly complements this doctrine. They would not only increase the Navy's ability to monitor our waters, but also give us tools to counter one of the most serious threats we face: Chinese submarines. Beijing has been steadily expanding its submarine fleet. These subs operate from Hainan Island and could easily project power into the South China Sea. Without effective anti-submarine warfare assets, the Philippines is vulnerable. But with Orions in the air and destroyers at sea, the balance shifts. This deal also strengthens interoperability with Japan. With the reciprocal access agreement now in place, Japanese and Philippine forces can train together more seamlessly. Imagine joint patrols, Japanese and Philippine ships sailing side by side, Orions flying overhead, sending a strong message of unity and deterrence. Let's be clear, these are not perfect, brand new assets. The Hatsuyuki-class ships are over 30 years old, and the Orions are being phased out by many countries. Some critics will say the Philippines is merely receiving hand-me-downs. But here's the reality. For a country like ours, struggling with limited defense budgets and urgent maritime threats, these assets represent a massive step forward. They buy us time to develop doctrine, train personnel, and prepare for the acquisition of more modern platforms in the future. Think of it as a bridge. a temporary but crucial upgrade that strengthens our defenses until we can afford state-of-the-art frigates, submarines, and aircraft. More importantly, this transfer is a signal. It shows Japan's commitment to Philippine security. It shows that Manila is no longer alone in standing up to Chinese coercion in the West Philippine Sea. And it underscores that sovereignty is not defended by words alone, but by real, tangible capabilities at sea and in the air. So what does all this mean for the Philippines? It means that by 2027, the Philippine Navy could look very different. With 6 Japanese destroyers patrolling our waters and P-3C Orions guarding our skies, we would finally have the tools to monitor, deter, and if necessary, defend against threats in the West Philippine Sea. This is not the final solution, but it is a vital step forward. It is a chance for the Philippines to learn, adapt, and prepare for a future where our Navy and Air Force are no longer the weakest links in the region. The sea is our lifeline. Our sovereignty depends on it. And with Japan's support, we may finally have the chance to defend it with strength and credibility. What do you think? Are these Japanese destroyers and Orions the right step for Philippine defense? Or should we focus on acquiring fewer but newer assets? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can also support me by donating coffee through the link in the description. This has been Pinoy Guard, watching the waters, guarding the nation.